Hello and welcome to the biggest day of the year for rugby in Victoria. It's Grand Final Day and I'm your host, The Source, here today as we are moments away from kickoff in the Premiership Grand Final between the Brimbank Bucks and Eltham. And as I say that, entering the field is Eltham. Their starting team today is Jeremy Corey, Amir Samuel and Phoenix Simmons in the front row. Toby Painter and Brent Milchuk make up the locks. The back row of Jordan Magna, Josh Guy and Captain Dan Hall. The halves today are Tommy Bowl and Tony Keach. The wings are Jonathan Page and Asiya Naulago. The midfield of Duke Nonna and Gary Delbeth bring plenty of experience. And at the back, Graham Crawford. And the starting lineup for the minor premiers Brimbank, front row of Andrew Patello, Lou Tautiaga and Samuel Ayuta. The locks are Jankin Alafia and Dwayne Tiopira, who's also one of the co-captains today, and a back row of Nikki Chan Tung, Feimata Nimarota and Siologa Liota, who's the other co-captain. Your halves are Peter Whakaungo and Lue Emane. The two wings are Ponepate Sivaliagi and Ruben Mulipola, and the midfield of Ayokimo Lucky Mulipola and Vasily Liota. And in jersey number 15 at the back is Patau Lefau. So a beautiful day out here at Box Hill, not a cloud in the sky. And for those of you watching at home, there's a very, very strong breeze here today. 15 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, as I said, but the breeze will be pushing across the field in the direction of the hill that you can see opposite the camera. So anything that goes high in the air today is going to be a real struggle for those fullbacks to catch. So keep an eye out for that. It will be Eltham kicking off and running left to right. Eltham in the predominantly black jerseys and Brimbank in the blue outfit today. And getting us underway will be Tommy Bowl, the number 9 for Eltham, tasked with the first kickoff. Bowl long and to the right-hand corner, and they allow it to bounce. So buried inside their 22 early on at Brimbank, and they'll slow down that first breakdown. And Nimrod stands about 7 metres wide of the ruck. Oh, and there's a slight fumble at the base there. And Whakeongo, the halfback, costly error to start the match. Well, he wasn't quite sure if he was box kicking or he was going to use one of his forwards to punch it up and get a better angle for the kicker. And perhaps being stuck in two minds there was part of the reason that Whakeongo fumbled it. But what it will mean is that Eltham are in prime real estate with the first set piece opportunity of the game. Solid scrum here from Eltham. They go out to Keach. Keach puts it under the right chicken wing and goes charging into the defensive line. They come back down the short side where they find their big man Milchuk waiting. Back to the left again they go, and it's his lock partner Paintner on this occasion crashing it up. The backs are all set on the left. Keach putting it through the hands, and Dalberth with a bit of a dart and a hit and spin, and that gets him within 10 metres of the line. They go left again, and trying to create some space on the left edge is now Largo. And, well, dancing backwards is Guy, but the penalty will go to Brimbank, so an early let-off for the Bucks. So Whakeongo tasked with the first kick to touch of the game for the Bucks. He'll want to make amends for that earlier knock-on as he puts it on the right shoe and right into the Rugby Victoria tent on the far side of the field. That'll set up a line out about 25 metres out from their own touch line, from their own try line rather. Tautiaga with the first throw. Easy win at 2 for Brimbank, and they immediately move it to the midfield. Damaging run there in the middle. So Brimbank on the front foot. Straight on the shoe goes Whakeongo. And that's a high kick, which is going to clear the head of now Largo and go straight into touch. So a good exit on that occasion from the Bucks. Throwing into a stiff breeze is Corey here. Let's see how he handles his first line-out throw of the match. Well, that doesn't look straight at all, and it's called that way. And that is one of the real threats today for any team that tries to throw long. You really are exposing yourself to the elements there, and I'm sure Corey will learn the lesson pretty quickly. So a scrum now for the Bucks, about 40 metres out from the Eltham line. Fakeyongo. Imani. Well, it's a skip pass and they go straight to Lucky Mulipola to get him on the front foot. Coming around the corner is Nimarota, and that takes 2 men to finally bring him to deck on the 22. They've got the momentum here and they punch it up through one of their big second rows. Right in the middle of the field, they go left again and Nimarota gets his second touch of the set. And eventually brought down to ground by Guy. But a little bit of slow ball there, and they're up very quickly on Patello. Oh, and great counter shove there. But illegally so. So Magna's been, well, no, not quite. Magna with the counter shove forces the penalty and not showing enough respect to the breakdown there with the forwards from Brimbank. So an early win for Magna and the big men of Eltham, who have quite the task on their hands today against this much bigger pack from Brimbank. To, what is that? Tommy Boll punching it into the left touchline. So it'll be a line out for Eltham. Second line out throw of the game for Corey. This time he wisely opts to go to 2 and they win it easily. Punching it up in the middle of the field is Captain Hall. And Hall wrestles 1, 2, 3 men on his way over the A-line. Putting it straight on the shoe is Keach, and has he cleared the head? Yes, he has, of Sivoyalagi. So a chance to counter-attack now. And he's done incredibly well there, and that'll advance the ball up to halfway for Brimbank. They've got numbers on the left if they shifted early. Oh, and Hall puts a shot on. Oh, and running the short line there is Iuta, and he spills the cookies. And that's a win for the Eltham defence.
Jersey 25 and jersey 24. Jenkins is 25. What's his surname?
So Jenkins Aliafia cleared by the medic to play on, the big second rower in jersey number 25, for those of you following at home. That slowed down the game somewhat, which will help Brimbank today with the bigger forward pack, looking to slow it down as much as they can and keep those big men on the field for as long as possible. So Tommy Bowl with the scrum put in the middle of the field, and they've set up with just 2 men on the right-hand side of the scrum of Eltham, and that's the fullback Crawford. But they go to the left, and Kitch immediately puts it on the shoe, and has that gone too far? Well, very dangerous play there from Ruben Mulapolo, keeping it in, but he does incredibly well to evade the first would-be tackler. So they've advanced it just outside the 22, and as I say that, he has put a foot in touch. And Eltham will get the line out throw 22 metres out from the Brimbank line. So a safety-first approach so far today from Keach and the Eltham backline. They try to win it at 2, but it gets picked off pretty quickly and immediately into touch. So take 2 here for Corey. They try the exact same place again, and Milchuk is a little bit more successful on this occasion. Hit hard is Keach in the middle of the field. Forwards struggling to get around the corner. Eventually they do, and they get the tip off to Milchuk. Rushing up very quickly, they try to shut down the outside backs off Eltham as Page goes for a dance down the right touchline and is bundled into touch, but will return for the long arm penalty, and offside earlier. And here's a real opportunity for Eltham to get the first points off the game with a penalty goal if they should choose. We saw last week just how dangerous the boot of Tommy Bowl is, so we know he can certainly kick it from here, and he's a bit of a sharpshooter. And with that in mind, there's no hesitation whatsoever for Eltham to point towards the sticks and give Tommy Bowl a chance to open the scoring here in the Premiership Grand Final. Tommy Bowl steps in, splits the uprights and opens the scoring here in the Premiership Grand Final. First blood to Eltham, 3-0. So Amani kicking off here for Brimbank. All the forwards lined out to the right. He goes long with a torpedo-like kickoff. They pass it straight back to Keach, who puts it on the trusty right boot of his and bangs it into touch, just short of halfway. And we've already seen the line-out troubles for Corey and how difficult it is throwing on that side of the field. So let's see how Tal Tiaga goes with a throw. They go to 4, and it's an easy win there for Tiopira, but a slight knock on. So reprieve here for Eltham. And a little bit of smack talk going on between some of the forwards, and Chang Tung in the middle of it. The number 6 for Brimbank giving a bit of lip to his opposite number. Brimbank, of course, here courtesy of a win in the major semi-final 2 weeks ago. So they've had a chance to watch Eltham last week out at Seaford in the prelim, and no doubt done a little bit of homework on the way they like to play in the trusty right boot of Keach and how often he likes to kick it. They work it to Keach here, and he punches it through the midfield, and getting over the A-line is Nonna with a great carry. Tommy Ball goes back to the left, and as he does so frequently, he finds Painter, and the 2 locks like to carry as frequently as they can. Corey on this occasion crunching it up. Slow ball there, so we'll return for the offside penalty. And Eltham, well, this will be testing the limits of Tommy Boll and his kicking boot, so they might be tempted to go to the touchline. That they do, and it'll be interesting if this goes out. I don't think they've cleared the wing. No, they haven't. So Mullapola flings it inside, and Brimbank are able to run it from their 22. Vakayongo patiently at the base, looks for Imani, and Imani pumps it high and into touch up to the 40. They go quickly, Eltham, working it into the middle of the field. Guy thinks about the offload, opts against it, and is wrestled to ground. And Nimrodo over the ball very quickly. There might be a turnover here from Brimbank. Well, before he had a chance to get a real play on the ball, there was a bit of a knock-on. They'll get the scrum penalty anyway. Well, the scrum put in anyway, I should say. They've got fullback set out to the left, the backs, and the fullback floating behind the scrum, and he goes to the right now, linking up with Fakayongo. But Fakayongo opts to put it on the shoe instead, and he's overcooked it. So, not for the first time today, as we've seen in some of the earlier grand finals, a lot of teams having trouble picking this wind and kicking it a little bit too close to the touchline. And of course, we know that wind is so strong today. You have to give yourself plenty of room, lest it blow into touch like it did then. Eltham coming away with it, and their captain Hall crunching it up in the middle, held up high by Nimarota, but will return for the not straight line out, it looks. Or was it a knock on? So a scrum put in nevertheless for Eltham. And their scrum today has been pretty rock solid, it must be said, Eltham, of Corey, Samuel and Simmons. And they get nice solid ball there for Boll at the base. He finds Keach. They go to middle for Nona. Nona thought about the wide pass, opted against it, and is brought down by Vasily Liota. Bit of a counter shove put on here, but they're able to get the ball back cleanly in the end. Working it back to the left where their forwards were. And putting it on the shoe now is Tommy Boll, and he couldn't have picked out Lafau any better if he tried. And Lafau returns favour with the kick, and that's a knock on there by Page. So coming away with it is Brimbank, and they've got the ball on Eltham's side of halfway. No real advantage, so we'll come here for the knock on by Page. And that's been the first real mistake of the game in attack by Eltham. Brimbank not having any ball inside Eltham's half of the field so far. Completely dominating territory is Eltham. But here on halfway, they've got a great opportunity to launch an attack. And as I say that, you can see standing very flat is Lucky Mullapola, about 10 metres wide of the scrum. And you just wonder if the inside centre is going to be tasked with the first hit up of the set. They go to Imani. He finds his man, Lucky Mullapola. He's chopped down quickly. They know what a danger man he can be if he gets a head of steam ahead of him. Coming around the corner, they find Liota, their captain. Well, they've lost about 3 or 4 metres from the original scrum here, so they're not making much of a dent into this Eltham defensive line. They go to the right again, and the big forwards having to work hard to get around the corner from Brimbank. Well, rushing out of the line was Hall looking for the intercept. And there's a turnover and knock on from Brimbank, so an opportunity to counter-attack here for Eltham, if they can get numbers to the base of that ruck. Turnover good. Sniffing a chance around the fringes of the ruck. They go for a pick and go and advance it up just short of halfway here. Bowl claiming that illegal hands in the ruck and appealing for a penalty. Not given by the ref, so now they've got numbers down the short side. And here he goes now, Largo, and he's very dangerous in open space. Advancing it up to the 22. Working it through the backs. Well, they were trying to, but Simmons gets in the way, so he'll try to get back on the front foot for Eltham. Take two. Now they find Keach, and Keach with a wild pass finds Corey in the middle of the field, and they chop him down very quickly. He rolls once, twice. Well, lucky to be pinged for, not to be pinged for not releasing there. It seemed like he held onto the ball a very long time, and that gives our man Guy a bit of a chance to do a little bit of a dance on the right-hand edge of the field. Counter ruck good there from Nimoroda, and now they've got the turnovers. They're coming down the short side, and a real chance here for Sevil Ilagi. And Sevil Ilagi on the left touchline makes it just short of halfway. No one at the base of that ruck for the Bucks, and well, they're lucky not to turn it over there. A stray hand in there from, I fancy it was Milchuk, gives away the knock on. So they'll have a scrum put in here, Brimbank. 5 metres in from touch, just short of halfway. Last scrum got screwed towards the touchline, as it has again, and that doesn't make it very easy for Fakayongo. Working well in the centre of the field is Vasily Leota, breaking into the backfield. He's got support on his inside, and he finds Lucky Mulapola, and Lucky Mulapola looks for an offload. I fancy that might have been forward, and it is. But right there, you can see the danger of their big midfield centres, Mulapola and Leota, working in tandem and punching holes through the middle of the field. This has been the first foray that Brimbank have had inside the 22 of Eltham, but unable to hold the ball for any length of time whatsoever. So it'll be another scrum put into Eltham and a chance for Keach to get his team out of trouble with that right boot of his, no doubt. Scrum goes down, so it's been blown up. And the second successive scrum goes down, and a long arm has been awarded to Brimbank. Well, much of the dominance prior to that scrum had gone the way of Eltham at scrum time. Not on that occasion, apparently, so a chance here for the Bucks to get on the board and level the scores up at 3 apiece. So Amani looking to square up the scores at 3 apiece. Kicking into an absolute gale here. It'll go left to right, the ball, or away from the camera as you're watching at home. Oh, and as I say that, on approach, the wind has knocked the ball off, so it's play on. And in the process of picking up the ball, Amani has knocked it on. And right there, you get a glimpse into just how strong the breeze is today out here at Box Hill. A certain 3 points has gone begging for Brimbank. And you could see there was a little bit of confusion from all parties concerned there when the ball blew over on his approach. Of course, if the kicker starts his approach to the ball and the ball falls off a tee, it is play on. So perhaps not fully around the rules there, Amani. And in the confusion, a knock on. And what a shove here from the Bucks, looking to exact some revenge. Somehow Hall picks up at the base and gets the ball back for Eltham. Keach sitting under the pocket. He's under incredible pressure here, but he gets the ball away just in time and kicks it into his fans on the left touchline. So it'll be a line out put in to Brimbank, 22 out from the line. Well, they've consistently won ball. Easy ball at 4 today. They've tried to go a little bit longer to 6 where Nimroda was, and he somehow gets away with it and claims possession. So it looks like they're going to set up a pot of forwards just to the left. And it was intended for Patello, but Tautiaga comes away with it instead. This time it's Chan Tung punching it up. And happy to play it within the forwards is Brimbank, as yet another pod comes around. And Patello finally gets the pill that he was searching for earlier, and he gets dropped down pretty quickly. The backs are waiting for it now, and Amani goes for the short ball and finds his man Lucky Mulapola. And Hall tries to make a steal on the ball. I fancy he got his hands on it, but somehow Brimbank come away with it. Slow ball here for Whakaiongo. So they'll keep it in tight for the time being with their big men. And they go through Leota, punching it one off to the right. Nimarota getting his hands dirty now. Sucking in the defensive line as they go out to Amani now, and Amani tries to put a little bit of a dance on and create some numbers, and Amani breaks 1, breaks 2, gets the offload away on the inside. They're about 2 meters short here. Best chance of the game for Brimbank. Will they use their big men in tight? They go for the pick and go, and Hall or Dalberth, it looks like there, has done a great job of slowing it down. Half a yard short. You can throw a blanket over the forward pack of Brimbank. They're that tight. Looking for the pick and go. One to the left is Patello. They go to the left again, sniffing an opportunity just around the fringes. A third pick and go to the right. Chan Tung at the base, it looks like, trying to get his hands on the ball. There he goes. He's got certainly a lot of weight behind him. He's got 2 guys latching on. Thinking about the short ball coming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour is Mulipola. They do a great job to chop him down. And there's Mulipola, the right wing, helping out the forwards with a pick and go. Will return for the offside though. And Eltham have done an incredible job there of withstanding the pressure of Brimbank on their own line. Decision time here. They're going to go for the scrum. And you can see a bit of consultation between the halves in terms of Whakaiongo and Amani weighing up their options. Does Leota, the number 8, fancy his chances getting out of the back and going straight at Keach? Or will it be a replica of what we saw behind before with Mulipola, Lucky Mulipola, the inside centre, looking to punch it up in the narrow channel? Solid scrum there. Here goes the number 8 off the back, and he finds Mulipola crunching it up. They're about 2 yards short of the line. pick and go to the left, and they're over. The Bucks have crossed the chalk for the first time today, and the first try of the game goes to Brimbank. 5-3 to the Bucks. They showed incredible patience. They've held the ball inside Eltham's 22 for the last 4 minutes. Happy to keep it really tight and narrow, punch away using their big battering rams, and in the end, it looks like their co-captain Zialogo Leota responsible for the opening score. Amani makes no mistake on this occasion with the kick at goal, thumps it through. Tommy Ball set to get us underway again. Low, hard driving kick into the middle, and Nimarota puts his head down, breaks one, breaks two, gets it up to the 40, and it throws a wayward offload. And that's not the type of pass you want to be throwing in these gale-like conditions. So they do the hard work of scoring and immediately turn the ball over from the kickoff. There'll be a scrum in the middle of the field here for Eltham, 40 metres out from the Bucks line. They've got 4 backs to the left, the 10, 12, 13 and left wing. Floating behind the scrum is Crawford. And if they do what they did last week, they'll look to link up with Crawford down the right-hand side here, will Tommy Ball. Hall goes right, Tommy Ball finds Crawford on the right edge. Crawford with an option to put it on the shoe or go himself, and he opts to go himself. He finds in the middle his captain Hall, and Hall is dragged down by the jersey on the 22. They work it back to the left, and here goes their number 7 guy, crunching it up inside the 22. They go to the left where they've got their full set back line, and the bouncing ball eventually finds Nonna, and Nonna, so strong on his feet, it often takes 2 men to bring him down to ground. And Guy goes for his second carry of the set. Ball options left and right. He finds, well, he was looking for Corey, and that long pass got caught in the wind and made it very difficult for the prop to catch it. So it'll be a knock-on and a let-off for Brimbank. So we've seen the scrum of Brimbank consistently wheeled to the right, so expect to see the number 8, Leota, at the back, pushed closer to the cameras, which almost forces Whakaiongo to pass to the left, which is what he has to do again. So Amani puts it on the shoe. That's the ugliest kick I've seen, and somehow Page comes away with it. And they've only made about 10 metres on the kick total, Brimbank there, so Eltham in great field position. Hands in the ruck there as well, so Tommy Ball opts to go quickly. Guy runs with it. Dances left, dances right. Someone's got him by the shoe there, so eventually brought down to ground about 25 metres out from the line. And these wild passes from Tommy Ball continue. They're going to have to want to narrow their attack if they can, because this wind is going to play real havoc for them today. Eltham. Crawford down the left. He finds his man on the left edge, and now Largo brought down about 10 metres out. He gets the pass away, and is Crawford over? I think he is. The fullback is in. What a strike back from Eltham. Struggling to exit the ball from their own half was Brimbank. They gave away wasteful possession from a terrible exit kick to Eltham. And within 30 seconds, Eltham are able to make them pay on the left edge. It was now Largo who got them over the A-line and into the backfield. But Crawford who was able to finish it for them. And they've arrested the lead off the minor premiers, Brimbank here, with a try in the far left-hand corner. So 8 points to 7. Eltham leading the Bucks, and this will be a very, very difficult kick. He is kicking into the teeth of this breeze. He'll really struggle here, Tommy Bolt, just to make the distance. That's how strong the breeze is. And as you can see there, held up, and it falls about 3 meters short of the posts. Certainly had the direction there, but just not the strength in his leg. Scores remain 8 points to 7 in favor of Eltham. So Leota, well, taking over the kicking duties. That's an odd call after only 20 odd minutes of the game. He goes long and picks out Guy, and Guy, well, has he got a right foot? Yes, he does. That's a very decent effort from an open side flanker. You don't often see too many other players in the team besides Keach put it on the foot. But Guy doing a lovely job there. So Brimbank with a line out throw. Nimroda won it at 6 on their last throw. They try to go to 4 and it's picked off beautifully by Painter on that occasion. Straight to the backs they go, and here goes their captain Hall. Too wide of the ruck. They come back down the short side, where all of their forwards are waiting from the previous line out. So happy to let the forwards wait and not chase around the corner. Eltham, Hall to the right. Now they've got the full set back line that they want. Nonna bounces off 1, bounces off 2, and there didn't look to be many arms in that shot by Cialogo Leota. Working it to the left, they find Painter. He gets through a mountain of work in terms of these carries, does Painter. Corey now on the left again. That's about his 4th carry of the game. Well, he didn't do a great enough job on the floor of rolling, so the Brimbank players there were able to get a real play on the ball, and there's the penalty for not releasing Corey, the culprit, on that occasion. They kick it long and into the right touchline, and this is a really great opportunity now for Brimbank. Of course, last time they entered the 22, they held it patiently for 4 minutes, came away with the try. This is only their 2nd visit to the green zone. Let's see if they can be equally as patient this time and come away with another score. Nimorota, the target. They attempt the maul, but it gets sacked very quickly. They'll revert to the pick and go instead. Coming through the centre there was Ala Efia, trying to catch them unaware. And he has his 2nd carry of the set now, so the big man doing all of the hard work. Andrew Patello getting involved now. They go again through their captain Leota. Hall making a nuisance of himself in the middle of it there for Eltham. And well, perhaps too much of a nuisance. Sent to the sin bin is Milchuk. And repeated infringements, it looks like, around the breakdown. And the towering lock from Eltham is sent off. So a real opportunity here for Brimbank playing against 14 men. Well, you can see a lot of infringements being made there by the likes of Hall, Painter and Milchuk. And unfortunately, it's Milchuk who's the one that's shown the cheese by the referee. So he'll have to sit in the naughty chair for 10 minutes. As Brimbank opt to go for the scrum. It looks like Hall will pack down in the 2nd row here, so there'll be 1 back rower short. Whakeongo with the feed. Great shove here, and Leota happy to keep it at the base there. They're on to the halfback, Whakeongo, quickly. And they're about 1 metre short of the line here. Nimarota, very close. Slowing it down beautifully. Eltham is about $3 at the base there, trying to get their hands on it. They've dived to the right. Is that man over the line? Hard to say from here. They set up a pod to the right. It's a fake though, because they pick and go to the left. Even the backs are looking to get involved as well here. It looks like Ruben Mulapola helping out the forwards. The number 14 playing the role of the 9th forward on this occasion. Pick and go. Nimarota beats one, beats two. He's on the line. Is that over? Not called. Now they release the back. Samani punching it up in the middle and looking for the offload is Lucky Mulapola. They've worked it about 30 metres to the left, and the forwards are really struggling to get to that breakdown, but they'll get a long arm penalty. They tap and go quickly, a little too quickly in fact, so they'll come back, and now decisions to be made. Another tap or a scrum. What are they going to do? Whakeongo has a think about the tap, turns to his captains, Tiopira and Leota, has a bit of a consultation, and the longer we wait here, the more I'm inclined to think that they'll go for the scrum. 8 points plays 7 in favour of Eltham, clinging onto the lead. But Brimbank with all of the territory in the last 3-4 minutes here. Big scrum again, and Leota at the base goes off. Second man play out the back, and they try to find Leota, and Leota desperately held up by Nona. They go around to the right again, and here comes Ruben Mulapola, and Ruben Mulapola dives for the right edge, but the touchies flag goes up, and the acrobatics of Ruben Mulapola, well, it had the crowd in hysterics, but prematurely, because he's put a foot on the touchline. Well, despite all the success they've had keeping it in tight, inexplicably they've gone wide. Perhaps a little bit too early to Ruben Mulapola there, and there's the turnover. Corey throwing it into the breeze, and it's picked off at 2 by Brimbank. So they've got the ball back here, and another chance to ram the line of Eltham. Chopped down quickly is Chan Tung after the tip pass. They go to the left, and they're working it through the backs, and well, turnover. Dalberth didn't really have a play on the ball, so we'll go back for the scrum. And that defensive effort in the last 10 minutes of the half from Eltham, heroic, absolutely heroic. They've withstood about 6 minutes with a man down on their own try line, and were able to keep Brimbank, the reigning premiers, out, and that will be a huge confidence boost here at halftime out at Box Hill in the grand final of the Premiership. Eltham somehow clinging on to an 8-7 lead at the break here in the Premiership grand final. We'll be back very shortly with the second half. we're back with the second half of the Premiership Grand Final out here at Box Hill between reigning, well, I was going to say minor premiers, in fact, Brimbank Bucks, who have had a breakout season in the top grade, against Eltham. Brimbank running left to right in the blue jerseys, Eltham in the black jerseys today. And a bit of a kicking duel to start us off in the second half. Whakeongo working it to the left. 8 points to 7, the score is. Eltham leading. And Nimarota with the first chance of the second half, breaking into the backfield. The number 7 for Brimbank gets the offload away and finds his back row buddy. And there goes Chan Tung. Options left and right. They work it to the left and find Leota, their captain, punching it up to the 22. Coming around the corner again is Patello, and Patello with a beautiful little flick pass on, and eventually Vasily Leota is brought down inside the 22. So they're going to work it through the big men here and try to inch their way closer to the try line using all of their muscle. Chan Tung getting involved again. Pick and go. Was that a knock on there? Yes, it was. And as they've demonstrated, once they cross that 22, they do a very good job of keeping it in tight, Brimbank. Just using the big guys they have in that forward pack, and it is a significant size advantage, it must be said, to work it ever so close to the try line. But the defence today from Eltham has been the real talking point of this grand final. They've still got a man in the bin, of course. Milchuk, their second rower. Shown 10 minutes for repeated infringements from Eltham at the breakdown. So he still has about 4 minutes to cool his heels on the sideline. There's a long arm penalty though from the Brimbank scrum. And here's a real chance against a 7-man pack if they want to pack down another scrum, which is what they've opted to do. So it'll be an 8-man v 7-man scrum here. And in shades of what we saw in the final 5 minutes of the first half, they had set-piece opportunity after set-piece opportunity inside the opposition's 22, but after pounding the rock time and time again, they were unable to breach Eltham's defence. Let's see if the chat at half-time has given them something to think about, and they're going to refocus and come out with maybe a slightly different approach when it comes down to breaking down this Eltham defensive line. Leota at the back, soccering it forward. Eventually it comes out, and showing and going is Whakeongo. They've retained possession about 4 metres out. Waiting for the pick and go is the big man Patello on the left. Playing advantage here is the referee, so, well, they're claiming a try from a pick and go here. There's going to be a consultation between the referee and the assistant here. The Brimbank forwards don't look totally comfortable though. They're not walking back to halfway, which would suggest they're not totally confident that they scored. So the try doesn't look like it's going to be awarded. And we will return for a 5-metre scrum. So awfully close on that occasion, but yet again, Eltham has the answers in defence. They've gone awfully close on their last 3 scrums in this position, 5 metres out from the line of getting a pushover. And Siologo Leota, their number 8, has demonstrated quite a handy set of soccer skills at the base of that scrum, soccering it forward and showing a lot of control there. Can he do it again? He picks up and goes this time. And playing out the back, they find Lucky Mullapola. Lucky Mullapola gets on the outside of his man and a wayward pass and a chance to counter-attack here. And here he goes now. Largo putting it on the foot, chasing hard to get back as Sivo Iliagi. Oh, and he's fumbled it. He's fumbled it, and Dalberth over the top makes an important tackle. Was there a knock on there? Well, holding on at the base, so Eltham will get a long arm penalty deep inside Brimbank's half. After absorbing all of that pressure on their own try line, they've come away with the penalty 70 metres upfield. Well, that has got to be crushing for Brimbank to be playing against 14 men for what has been 8 consecutive minutes inside the opposition 22. They've held the ball for in excess of 25 phases, haven't crossed the chalk once, and in the blink of an eye, Eltham, through now Largo, have been able to advance the ball up into the opposition's half, drew the penalty, and now Tommy Boll with the chance to add 3 points to the scoreboard. This will take the lead out to 4, and it will force Brimbank to have to score to get the lead back. So, Tommy Boll, the wind is going to be pushing the football away from the camera, so he's going to have to aim it to the left of the upright here. 3 steps and he's in. He's got the length, but it's gone out to the right, so it's got held up by the breeze there. And it'll be a 22 for Brimbank. Faking to go quickly is Fakeyongo. So they punch it long. Oh, and that's dangerous. Allowed to bounce. So a chance to counter-attack here, and they go through Page with the hit and spin. He breaks one tackle but fumbles it on the ground. And that's a cardinal sin. There wasn't a lot of pressure over the ball there, and Page has fumbled it. So it'll be a scrum put in to Brimbank. And I'm just checking to see if they're back to their full complement of 10 men, because we'd have to be very close to the end of that yellow card period being up here for Eltham. No, it looks like we're going to be packing down at least one more scrum with Milchuk in the bin. And it looks like little Ruben Mullapola has been substituted off. So already the changes are being made here for Brimbank. Apologies today, folks, for you who are joining at home and watching on the live stream. We don't have any of the numbers. They haven't been supplied to us today by the 2 teams for their reserves, so I won't have a name for you. As Brimbank go out to the backs, and Siviilagi gets the offload away, and a chance to roam in the open field is Lafau. And Lafau, well, he had the unmarked new man on the right wing, who he could have passed to, but went himself. They've made it up to the 22, though, and running a very hard line is one of the big men in the middle, and not releasing. So they only had one person at the breakdown to lock off there, and that was Tautiaga. Not showing enough respect to the breakdown, the Bucks, on that occasion. So Eltham through the boot of, well, it looks like Keach has been dispatched as the kicker when exiting, and it's actually their number 7 guy responsible for the exits. So not a bad kick there from the open side. And there he goes, Milchuk, back on the field, claiming it at 2. They punch it up in the middle of the field here to Eltham, and they go right again, working through Nonna. Finding his centre partner, and Crawford eventually on the right edge gets a touch. He's advanced it over halfway, so they've got a bit of a momentum behind them now. Eltham, as they work it back into the middle through Guy. Guy breaks 1, breaks 2. And Guy, well, what an elusive character he is. Will return for the long arm penalty, though. And the number 7 guy, who's having a whale of a game today, tries the banana kick. It doesn't work. It goes the other way, in fact. So that's going to roll way too long. And he's lucky it didn't roll an extra 30 centimetres. Otherwise, it would have gone dead, and there'd be a scrum back up on the 10-metre line for Brimbank. So a let-off, just a line, well, a 22 dropout, I should say. And they've taken it quickly of Brimbank. And what a beautiful little run there from Vakeyongo. So, chancing their arm a little bit now are the Bucks, and Tautiaga gets held up high in a tackle, and that might be a collapsed maul there, so they'll want to be careful. Yep, Tautiaga held up in the tackle, collapsed maul, and it'll be a scrum put into Eltham. The hooker there, guilty of not getting the ball to ground quickly enough. And for a number 2, he's a tall guy. He's the tallest man, in fact, in the entire forward pack for Brimbank. 6'3". Apologies, I call him the hooker. He just wears the number 2 jersey. Doesn't appear to be playing there. Holding it at the back is Hall. He goes to the right, and Tommy Bowl showing all of his experience there, putting it on the right boot and grubbering it over the touchline. So burying the Bucks deep in their quarter here. And stolen it too. And Eltham come away with it. And for the first time in what feels like ages, they've actually got the ball inside the opposition 22. Immediately they go through their captain Hall in the middle of the field, and Hall trucks it up. Bowl looks to go back down the short side. And there's Painter advancing it to within 5 metres of the line. They go to the short side again, and unmarked down the right touchline is Page, and the right winger is in for Eltham. Can you believe it? Starved of territory for the last 20 minutes. They've barely had any sight of the opposition try line, and the first time they get inside the 22, in the blink of the eye, they're able to convert the territory into points. Eltham out to a 6-point lead with a kick to come. So as they've done all season, a very unique game plan of not making the tight 5 forwards of Eltham chase around the corner of the ruck. They're happy to plant themselves on the short side. And when the opposition are guilty of overfolding in defence, they strike back down the short side. And it was very good hands there shown as Bowl misses from the right edge. Very good hands shown by the tight 5 forwards on that right-hand side of the ruck. Able to find their man Page unmarked on the right edge. but put it down to the classy hands of the forwards there and the quick, hot potato-like passes that they're able to demonstrate. So this could be a real upset here. 13 points to 7, Eltham lead. Not many people would have picked that at the 54-minute mark. And Brimbank with it all to do now. They kick long to the left. And here goes Guy. And I thought he was going to put it on the right shoe there, but crashes it into the defensive line instead. Now they work it through Painter. One wide of the ruck. Nimrod making a real nuisance of himself at the breakdown. Tommy Bowl shapes for the box kick. He puts it high in the air, and this will be a real test for, well, I was going to say it was going to be a test for Sevia Ilagi, but he's kicked it out on the full. Not for the first time today we've seen a kick overcooked on that far touchline as the breeze picks up here today out at Box Hill. And guilty there, Tommy Boll, of not learning the lessons of the day in the winds. Well, it's a real pain for anyone who's trying to kick anywhere near that touchline. You've got to give yourself an extra 10 or 15 metres to work with. So Brimbank now with a chance to respond. Nimrod with the pick and go. Gets it over the 22. Working it to the left they go. And, oh, there's a fumble there. Trying to get a little bit too clever was Tio Piro, I fancy. And this plays beautifully into the hands of Eltham. This will slow the game down by at least another minute or so as they pack this scrum. And there appears to be another replacement at fly half. So Brimbank lose Imani, who gets an early shower. This could well be Stuart Torhara coming on as a replacement. Apologies again, folks, for all of those watching at home. We've been provided with an incorrect team sheet by Brimbank today, so no one's wearing the numbers that they're meant to be. So I do apologise to all the families out there who are tuning in. We're going to get a few of these names wrong, so apologies for that. But there is a new man on at fly half for Brimbank. I'm guessing it's Stuart Torhara in the headgear. And now the front row of Corey, Samuel and Simmons for Eltham putting under a real pressure here from Brimbank, but they come away with it. Somehow Hall slips off the back of the scrum and goes down the short side. So they've got all the momentum here, Eltham, and they opt to swing it through the backs. Nona takes it to the line, tries to put a little bit of a dance on it. Well, he had a four-man overlap and selfishly went himself there. And will he regret that decision? They've maintained possession somehow. Numbers on the left. Guy bursting through the first tackle, about 7 metres short of halfway. Hall going for about his 8th carry of the game, leading the count for Eltham. They come back down the short side, and here is Simmons. Avoids the first tackle and wrestles his way up to halfway. Penalty though, incorrect entry at the ruck from Brimbank. And Guy, well, he'll look to the touchline and try to peel off as much territory as he can here in an effort to give themselves a great position to have a line-out throw. And as I say that, he stuffed the kick again. So, chance to put it into touch from the foul. Oh, and it almost goes over the line, but Simmons comes away with it instead. And Simmons will have to be very careful to keep the ball in here. He does eventually. And they work it to Keach. And Keach cuts back in, looking for his forwards to try to secure possession. They come down the short side as they do so often. Corey, beautiful hands here. And bouncing off the first tackle is now Largo. And he does a great job of keeping the ball in play. They work it through Magna, who's had a quiet game today. It's only his 3rd carry of the match. Corey, the pass goes behind him, so now Largo will have to clean up there. Bowl finds the big man Milchuk, but it's blown up there. So a knock-on will haunt Eltham and give an opportunity for Brimbank just outside of their 22.
All right, so thanks again, Shepard. If you'd like to jump behind the Premier's banner, we'll take a quick photograph and then we'll clear the field for the Masters game here on field number 2. So we can ask all other supporters to get back behind the ropes.
Well, huge substitution coming here. Nonna, the 12, has been taken off for Eltham. Perhaps the coach wasn't quite impressed with the way he executed that 4-on-1 only moments ago. So he's been replaced in the midfield, and we've got a new man on. As Vakeyongo feeds the scrum and gets clean ball for the Bucks. There's the new man, Stuart Tahara, who puts it on the shoe and he picks out Crawford. And Crawford, well, he tripped over his own feet there, but he gets it up to the 40 nevertheless. Very slow to get back on side is the tight 5 from Eltham. So they go down the short side. And, well, he's wrestled to ground there. Siva Ilagi with the tackle. And working very hard to get close to the ruck is Milchuk. He's one of the few forwards who's managed to make it to the far side of the field. And here comes Simmons punching it up. They've held him up high in the tackle. He'll have to work hard to get to ground here, and he does. Nimroda over the ball, does a very good job. Well, they're claiming he didn't release the tackled player there. Tough call on Nimroda, because it looked like he did a good job over the ball. A reprieve for Eltham, though. And Tommy Bowl, pumps it into the right touchline, inside the 22. And the minor premiers, Brimbank, trail 13 points to 7. And not many people would have picked that at the start of the day. So let's see how they respond in this position. They've had a whale of a season, have Brimbank. They would have been hot favourites here today in the grand final, and you just often wonder what that week off does after winning a major semi-final, how sometimes it can be a little bit disruptive to teams, breaks up a little bit of the momentum they would have had. Eltham, of course, winning last weekend and on a bit of a roll at the moment. And their defence today has been the real cornerstone of their game. So Nimroda claims it at the back of the line-outs for Brimbank. And there's been a fumble. So the territorial pressure being applied by Eltham manifests into a knock-on by Brimbank. And Eltham are in prime real estate here to really help or hurt the Bucks. Up 13 points to 7. About 20-odd minutes to go in the match. And you just wonder what a try here could do for the spirit of Brimbank. Bowl with the feed. Keach standing flat. Switch play finds a new man on the field. I fancy that might be Venables. They come to the left again, and Painter, with his 6th carry of the game, trucks it up. They come back to the right, and they find another replacement. Bouncing off 1, bouncing off 2. And in front of the black dot, about 7 metres short, and they've drawn a penalty here. And up 13 points to 7. Hall, the captain, has got a big decision to ask, does he take the 3 points on offer or try to wind down the clock? He takes the 3. And a critical kick here for Tommy Bowl. If he nails this, Eltham will be out by more than a converted try, and well and truly with their foot on the throat of the Bucks. Tommy Bowl directly in front. 1 step, 2 step, bang! Over the black dot, And Eltham race out to a 16-7 lead over Brimbank. And joining me on the live feed, Justin Carroll. Nice to have you up here on the Warrior scaffolding with me, JC.
Thanks, Sauce. What a great day here at Box Hill, and it's all happening. We've just gone into double overtime in the other Premiership Grand Final. But anyway, congratulations to Shepparton there. But this has been an exciting game. I've been keeping an eye on it over my shoulder.
And, well, Eltham leading surprisingly, JC, 16-7. There wouldn't have been too many people in the crowd who would have picked that today.
No, these two teams have battled hard against each other all season, and you'd have to say that Brimbank would have been the favourites, but they just need a bit of field position and a bit of ball control from what I've seen so far.
So breaking away there is Vasily Liota, trying to get up to the 22. They'll turn to their big men in the middle of the field and try to get the ascendancy through Andrew Patello. And a fumble by Nimarota means a turnover. And once again, we've seen the big men spill the beans. And we'll have a break in play here, JC, because there's a man down in back play. But a great chance to just reflect on the season that's been for Brimbank. And what a season it has been for the Bucks. Of course, first time in senior rugby. And for a team who's only just having their first taste of senior football, what a terrific season it's been for the club as a whole, and their ability to put out a team, and not just put out any team, a team that's had real success early on.
Well, that's right. And they're a real strength of those western suburb clubs, aren't they? And, you know, with Tysmere, with their good coach that they've got in place out there now, and some really good facilities with their new clubhouse and floodlit grounds there. They're a club really on the rise, and it's great to see that they've had some success really quite quickly. They've obviously got some very good players in that side, and players that have played all their rugby out in those western suburbs and for Brimbank over the years, and now that they can be represented in senior rugby is really exciting for rugby in Victoria.
And I guess what it does mean is talented young players out in the west won't necessarily have to travel into the city as much for an opportunity.
That's right.
So scrum win here for Eltham. Keach looking for Dalberth in the middle, crunching it up. Very rarely do they go wide on first phase to Eltham. They put it straight to the shoe and they give it to that man, Siva Ilagi. And he breaks one, tries to get the offload away. And they crunch it up through Liota. Looking to go back to the left is Nimarota. And he's brought down by Simmons in the middle of the field. They've got front football. They're short on numbers out on the wide side of the fielder, Eltham. If they want to use it through the hands, they can chew off some easy meters. So they bash it up through what looks like Tio Pira, and they go through the left now. And they advance it inside the 22. Thinking about the tip pass was Andrew Patello, but he decides to keep it under the right arm and go himself. They've drawn the long arm penalty, and going very quickly there is Whaka Ongo. And Whaka Ongo gets within 5 meters of the line. Pick and go, trying to capitalise on the forward momentum are the forwards from Brimbank. And is that a maul where the ball's held up off the ground? Yes, it is. So that'll be a scrum put into Eltham.
It's a real opportunity lost for Brimbank. A little bit of patience was required then. Just needed to get to ground and recycle that ball. They really had Eltham on the back foot, and they had a bit of width as well. But look, it's one of those days, and I'm sure you've probably touched on it already, Source. It's very difficult to shift the ball quickly and with long passes in this very strong breeze blowing from right to left as you watch your screens, folks. And, you know, long passing is going to prove to be difficult. So most of the teams we've seen here today on Grand Final Day have kept the ball fairly short and fairly conservative through their forwards. But the opportunity has been there for Brimbank to shift the ball a couple of passes where they've had some numbers, but just a little bit of lost patience there. And just by taking their time and resetting and working hard and building some pressure, they could have come away with some points.
Well, Nimarota being tested out here by the physio. It looks like he's got a bit of a dodgy ankle, and that would be a huge loss if he was to go off now.
Yeah, he's been very strong so far today, and with, about 20 minutes or so to go in the second half, it's they don't want to lose him.
So it's been under real pressure the last 20-odd minutes or so, has the Eltham scrum. I thought initially they had the advantage in the first quarter of the game, but I don't know, there must have been something said in that halftime chat, because Patello, Tautiago and Ayuda have really rolled up their sleeves and are making life very difficult for the Eltham front row. Nevertheless, Eltham come away with it, and I fancy they won't want to play too much football in this half of the field, and Keach sitting in the pocket, puts it on that trusty right boot of his and kicks it out about 30 metres out from touch. So line out throw here, and this will be very difficult for Tautiaga in these windy, blustery conditions here, JC.
Yeah, it makes it very difficult to throw to the back of the line out, of course, but it's all about speed and the anticipation of the jump, and there they go short at 2, but again, it's a poor throw, which lets Eltham off the hook, and
Guy coming away with it.
Don't be surprised if they send the ball downfield here.
So they put it through the hands, and Crawford, well, he's a bit of a right footer, so I don't know if he's going to have the opportunity to put it on the shoe there. And it's very hard, as we just saw there, to put it on the right foot when you're running to the left touchline. Nevertheless, they've pumped it long, and Lafau, well, he's got no one to pass to. He's in real trouble here. If they want to counter-ruck here, they'll be under incredible pressure. But they, well, a bit passive on the counter-rucking there are the outside backs of Eltham, so it's an easy win for Brimbank. And coming away with it there is Teopira.
Brimbank still have 3 or 4 players yet to get back behind the ball, so that's not going to help them shift it.
Right you are, JC, as they truck it into the middle of the field. And, yep, tired legs, as you can see. Very slow getting back on side of the Bucks. So, forced to put it on the shoe is Fakayongo. And high ball there. Not looking very comfortable was Crawford. Bowl low, well, I'll tell you what, if they get away with the win here today, Eltham, take a look at the likes of Bowl, Keach, and I'm going to throw Guy into the equation as well. The kicking game with those 3 gentlemen has proven to be the difference, and the way that they've controlled territory off the back of those kicks of theirs has really proven to be quite a big difference in this game. Brimbank opting to go quickly, and Lafau comes down the right edge, linking up with the new man. And 1, 2, 3 Eltham defenders required to bring him to deck. Counter ruck. Well, a little more enthusiasm shown on this occasion with the counter ruck, but they still come away with it. They crunch it up into the middle of the field, and wow, look at this. Bit of a half break here. Sorry we don't have any of the names for you. For those of you watching on at home, we haven't been provided with the team sheet today by Brimbank, so kind of guessing a little bit here, JC. As they go down the left edge, and it looks like Sivi Ilagi breaking away from one would-be tackler. So they've advanced it over halfway. And the Morata throws a wild pass out to the back. And they come away with it through Teopira. But there's the long arm for not releasing the ball once tackled. So they've absorbed the pressure in defence today incredibly well, Eltham. And I just wonder, where are they going to find a hole in this defensive line? Because the way they've absorbed everything that Brimbank have thrown at them, it's been an absolutely masterclass when it comes to defence today, JC.
Well, that's right, and fatigue is now starting to set in, and the ball carrier for Brimbank is not being supported like he was earlier on, and it's making it easier for the Eltham players to put some pressure on the football at the breakdown, and as you can see, they got some reward at the last breakdown there. So, look, it's a 2-score game to Eltham with not that long to go, and really, through the likes of Bowl and Keach, they're going to try and control field position, keep Brimbank on the back foot, and if they are going to score a try, they're going to make it a 70 or 80 metre effort.
Well, it's just gone over the hands of Milchuk there. And there's been a little bit of a knock on spotted. So there'll be a scrum set down about 30 metres out from their own line for Brimbank. And they've had a slight advantage, it must be said today, at scrum time, Brimbank.
Well, they do have a big size advantage, but technically the Eltham scrums, as you said, particularly since half-time, has really come out after half-time and just tightened up what they were doing and really locking on at contact and making sure that they don't suffer from a second shove from Brimbank. And here they are dominating this scrum.
Eventually they get it out. Fake switch going himself there. Over the ball is Guy looking for the steal. All of the forwards remaining on the short side for Brimbank, and they punch it up through Nimrata. Options left and right on this occasion though. They go left, and look at the black jerseys there swarming the ball carrier. Trying to create some space down the short side. Go Brimbank. Flirting with the touchline as well. Slow ball here. Patello, one off. Barely makes it over the A-line. And there's about 6 men on the ground for Brimbank struggling to get in the game. Eventually they go wide and find Vasily Leota, and he flings it off the deck. And they've got some fresh legs out there in the middle who will be tasked with helping out those breakdowns. And, well, not there quick enough, because not for the first time we've seen a penalty at the breakdown. And as these big men get tired, JC, we're starting to see a few more turnovers or penalties given away at the breakdown.
Yeah, and Eltham are just putting really good pressure on that ball carrier as soon as he gets to ground. First arriving defensive player getting to the ball, and Brimbank just aren't reacting quick enough to remove that threat. So referee Horton has no alternative than to penalise the Brimbank side for holding on. So, as I said, I mean, Eltham can now control this game. I mean, the scoreboard says there's probably 3 or 4 minutes to go. Whether or not that's exactly in the game clock on Rachel Horton's watch. But at the moment, the game is there for Eltham to win if they can just control possession and control field position.
So, Milzak was the intended target on the last throw. It was slightly overthrown and he got a finger to it, but it was a knock on. They've gone for a short line out here again, have Eltham. With Hall standing too wide in the back line. Look for him if they win it. And a cheeky throw to Simmons on the 5 metre line, and that's an easy win in the end for Eltham. Bowl struggling to get the ball out there, and he's demanding a penalty. Eventually Keach gets the ball in his head. Oh, and up quickly on the captain. Hall was Nimrata, and he put a shot on. Guy somehow comes away with it, however. And the big hit will amount to nothing. And he's racing out of the line again, trying to put another shot on Hall. I don't know what Hall said to him, but no love lost between those two back rowers. Bowl, Keach, cut out, trying to create a 2-on-1 on the left edge. They get it away, and here he goes. Now Largo works it back on the inside to Crawford, and Crawford is within sight of the line now. Tommy Bowl goes for the crash ball, and it looks like Lamali Fe'ilaga. Well, fumbled ball there, so Brimbank come away with it, but if they're going to score, they're going to have to run 90 metres to do so. They go for a wild cut pass out to the left, and looking for that man, Siva Ilagi. Breaks one, breaks 2 tackles. And he's a real handful in the open field. Counter ruck, illegal. So there'll be a long arm. Thinking about the quick tap is Fakeyongo. And that's what they do in the run at straight challenge. Wow. Big collision there. Trying to lift the tempo of the game now is Brimbank. Knowing full well that time is their enemy. Nimrata with the carry, one off to the right. Big carry on the right edge again. Patello goes to acting half. They try to put it through the hands on the right edge, but they're awake to it, and Guy shuts down the play pretty quick, smart. And there you go again. A third breakdown penalty in favour of Eltham in the space of 5 minutes, JC.
Yeah, they've been very efficient, particularly in this second half, as the Brimbank players have got a little bit more fatigued. As I said before, just getting to that breakdown first, putting pressure on as the wind picks up here at Box Hill. And Eltham controlling their way to the finish line by the looks of it. And it will be a surprise win.
You're absolutely right. Playing the clock beautifully here. Eltham. Look how slow they are to get to this line out.
Yeah, they just need to either up the tempo and get their hands on the ball, Brimbank, and try and keep it alive. But the Eltham defensive line, their systems have been very good. They've connected well in defence and put pressure on the breakdown every time a tackle's been made. So at the moment, they're really controlling the tempo of the game.
Corey. Well, it's been picked off at 2 there. He was looking for Milzak, and they've come away with it. So, well, cheeky pick and go there, and Sivi Ilagi tries to create a bit of magic himself. Nimroda crashing it up to the 22. They've got about a 6-on-2 on the right edge if they go quickly here, Brimbank. They put it through their hands, but a wayward pass there, and it looks like Felice there goes into contact and takes it to ground. So the big men are rolling up their sleeves here, trying to get their hands on the ball and get over the A-line. And Corey making an important tackle there on the 22, slowing down the breakdown. Eventually it comes clear for Nimroda, who's had his 20th carry of the game. This guy, in a losing side, has not stopped trying all 80 minutes. Wild pass out the back, and oh, there's a turnover here. Dalberth, if he can get his hands on it, well, he would have had a real shot at scoring a try there, Dalberth. As it is, though, it'll be held up in the tackle, which means a scrum put into Eltham, and this plays beautifully into their hands as they look to wind down the clock.
I wouldn't be surprised if we're nearly up to the last play here, Source. And Eltham have done a really good job in the last 20 minutes of, as I said, just controlling the play. You know, on the back of Bowl and Quiche, and Crawford's been good. And particularly Guy, he's worked really hard all afternoon, and this is a very well-deserved victory and grand final win for 2019 for the BLK Premiership for Eltham.
Of course, all grand finals today brought to you by our friends at Brick Lane Brewing. Great to have them on board as naming rights partners for grand final day, and in fact all of the final series, JC.
Yeah, it's fantastic to get some backing from Victorian companies and local companies to help the grassroots rugby here in Victoria, and it's a fantastic day. We've got the Brick Lane Brewing marquee up there, which I'm sure will be well patronised, particularly during the grand final. When
you're on the guest list. I made sure you're on the VIP list, JC.
That is important. However, we'll just see how this game pans out now in the last couple of minutes.
Hall goes out, Tommy Bowl crashing it up in the middle, and it looks like it might be Teofi. Well, did he knock on there, Tommy Bowl? Not called, so play on, and there's a try on the left edge, and Lamali Fayalaga, I fancy it is, crashes over down the short side, and the blue wall defensive line has been breached, and that is a grand final win, no doubt, for Eltham.
Yeah, that'll get them home now, and they've, as I said, their second half has been clinical, it's been efficient, and they thoroughly deserve their premiership victory here in Box Hill this afternoon, and congratulations to them, and Coach Russ Hurdle and Coach McConey. They've done a fantastic job, and
yep, they'll deserve all the accolades they can get, that's for sure. And you can see the Brimbank team behind the goalposts in a circle, embracing each other. It's always a tough one, isn't it, JC? You go through as minor premiers, and then when the pressure is applied on grand final day to fall short, it's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, and to be fair, Eltham's been through that a couple of times over the last few years.
True.
They've, led competitions and lost to teams on grand final day, so congratulations to them. But yeah, look, still a great return for Brimbank, as that is full time now. And Source, I'm going to leave you there so I can go down for the presentations here, and we'll catch you for the big one, the big dance at 2:45.
Fantastic, JC. Look at the celebrations. Full time blown by Ray Jordan, and Eltham are your 29 Premiership Grand Final winners, and aren't they happy about it? Congratulations to Eltham, commiserations to minor premiers Brimbank Bucks. They can hold their head high. They've had a terrific season, Brimbank, but on the big day, they just weren't able to get the job done. Thank you for joining us out here at Box Hill. We'll be back very shortly with the Jewish Shield Grand Final, as the Broncos look to get the job done on their home turf against the Melbourne Unicorns.
Here we go